Hi everyone, how are you this Memorial Day? Bess McCarty here, coach, body-mind therapist, coach for network marketers, also called the shrink of MLM. I help people to have better health, relationships, life, careers, network marketing businesses. Today I want to speak about Memorial Day and specifically healing loss. I have a bunch of stories for you. I hope that they might help if anyone has had a loss of any type in their life. Welcome, Teddy. Glad to see you. So first of all, Memorial Day today, remembering all of those who have fought and even given their lives for our freedom, and all the veterans who have served in any way, who have contributed their time, their health, their limbs, their physical ability, their sanity, their relationships for our freedom. We don't know the sacrifice that they've made, and we do take freedom for granted. I think I could say that confidently. This country has its troubles, but we also have more freedom than many, and more comfort. So welcome everyone who's hopping on here. Welcome Jeffrey and Ann, and Julie, Sandy, hello, just waving to everybody here. And Doris, welcome. Hi everyone. Hey, if you're watching the replay, I'd love if you type in replay. I also like to hear where you're from. And if you have had a loss in your life of any type, person or business or anything like that, would you put a heart in the comments, because I want you to know that you're not alone, and maybe there's some tips and stories today that can help you. Hello Steve, welcome Antoinette and Tom. Glad to see everybody. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much. So love to see a heart if you care to share that you have had the experience, the beautiful experience, the hard and beautiful experience of dealing with loss. Hello Julie, welcome. Welcome to everyone. So, you may have lost loved ones, friends, family, pets. I have lost both my parents, and this year I have lost 2 friends and 1 pet. So I'd like to talk a little bit about life after loss. The stages of grief, you may have heard them, are 5, but I would like to add a 6th. And welcome everybody who's on. Hello Julie. Yes, we have a purple heart from Julie. Thank you. All right, so the stages of grief are, and they may not come in this order, and you may cycle through them several times even. So the first one that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has identified is denial. And that is when we're kind of in shock. We cannot quite believe or grasp. It hasn't quite sunk in yet. The next stage is anger. Anger is always an attempt to shift responsibility or a way to blame, but that's how we initially might go through that. We might have anger at life, at God, at someone else, and like them to take the responsibility for our pain. The third is bargaining. This might be with God, with ourselves to try and feel better. The fourth is depression, because that's when we realize that love meant a lot to us. That love that we had, that person, that pet, that job position that we had meant a lot to us. And then, and sometimes I have felt like, well, what's life worth anymore if my loved one is gone? What is there left? And of course there's plenty left, but at that point that's what you feel like. And the fifth one that she identifies is acceptance. And that's when we can come into a certain comfort about living in that different reality, not necessarily a lesser, but a different one. Well, I'd like to add a 6th stage, and that is what I'll call a rebirth, or a rising higher than we even were before that loss. So that's what I really would like to share today. And welcome, Jan. Good to see you, my neighbor here. So, start out with a story. Years ago, I was engaged to be married, and got to know my fiance's father by phone because he lived in Canada and we were in Texas. Got to love him and looked forward to the flight up to Canada to meet him. After much planning, we were all ready to go, but 2 weeks before the flight, before our trip, he passed away. And I thought, I just missed him. We went up anyway. Of course, it was now for a funeral service instead of to meet him as a future father-in-law. I had grown to love him and appreciate him, was very confused as to why this happened, why I did not get to meet him physically. It was a beautiful service, scattered his ashes on the farm where he and his wife lived. Afterward, I remember I was relaxing one day after the funeral, and the trip came back, and I was just relaxing, and I said to him, I'll make up a name, but I said, John. I was just talking inwardly, and I said, John, I understand you are such a great guy. I wish I could have met you. And immediately, these words come into my being, says, I'm still a great guy. I didn't die. And these words were like offended, that I would talk about him in the past tense. And that was my first experience that deeply in realizing that life goes on, that the person does not die, their body died, they shifted residence, but that they don't die. And actually that we can keep a dialogue going with that person. So, he said, I'm still I'm still a wonderful person. I didn't die. I'm still here. I still exist. That was just my body. So that's my first story to share with you. And welcome Mahmoud and Dennis. Glad to see everybody. Thank you for watching. And what I've done is I've invited people, if you've had a loss in your life, would you put a heart in the comments, because we want to let you know that we're with you, you're not alone. And maybe some of these tips will help today. Speaking to you as a therapist, a coach. I've been a body-mind therapist for about over 30 years for my own personal growth and to help other people. So welcome, Thon, from Brazil. Thank you very much. So that was one story. Recently lost a friend, and another friend who knew him too posted this on Facebook. What he did is he was vacationing when he heard that his mentor was close to leaving his body. So he quit his vacation, traveled to see him, and he did get there before his mentor passed away. But he was unconscious. He did not get to speak, although his mentor left some words for him, for someone to share with him, aside, before he lost consciousness. But he got to sit with his mentor, sit with him while he was unconscious. And he wrote this beautiful thing, and he put it on Facebook. So I think, I believe I can share this. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome, Cassandra. Glad to see you guys. Thank you for being here. So what he wrote was, when I meditated in the other room after being with you, I could feel death's presence. It felt bright and beautiful. I saw that as things were getting darker externally, they were getting brighter internally. Whatever remnant of fear of death I had is gone now. When she comes for me, I will greet her as a friend. What a tremendous gift that was. And I latched onto that one sentence. I saw that as things were getting darker externally, they were getting brighter internally. And I thought, oh my gosh, we sometimes focus on the lesser, like a butterfly cocoon. When it leaves a chrysalis, that's its old wrapping, its old home. And the butterfly leaves as a beautiful, colorful being that can actually fly. And that is a celebration to the butterfly. I left my old, wrinkled, crowded chrysalis, and it's all shriveled and useless now, but now I can fly. Now I can fly. And so many of us focus back on that old wrinkled chrysalis, or the body that our loved one has just left. I took this sentence that Daniel wrote. I saw that as things were getting darker externally, they were getting brighter internally. And then I went back in my mind and applied that to when my beloved best friend dog of 15 years died, left his body. His body died, I'll say. Left his body in January. Because now I like to say, well, that person didn't die or that dog didn't die. His body died. His body died. So I don't like to say that, my dog died, but when my dog's body died in January, I saw the life go out of it, and it was just left in this shell in my arms. It was he translated, I call it, at midnight in my arms, and left his body behind. And now when I go back and think of that event, which I've debriefed many times, I go back and I see that what this person wrote. That there's something even brighter and more wonderful happening with that. Welcome, Jay, David, and Karen. Welcome, everybody here. If you've had a loss, I'd love to hear, if you're dealing with one right now, I'd love to hear what that is. I'd love to hear your story or any tips that you have for healing loss. So please weigh in, check in. I like your likes and loves. If you're getting benefit, maybe you know someone who can comment, like, love, share, even share in a networking group if you know, in a Facebook group if you know of one, or a friend that maybe you could tag. So love to spread it around. Hello, welcome, Jennifer Paulson. So what happened with my dog is the very next day, this is like at midnight, this happened the very next afternoon. I was driving, came up to a stop sign. It was a rural farm area. And I come up to the stop sign, nobody around. All of a sudden, I hear this pound on the side of my car door. And it's this big beige dog. My little Charlie, he was a little beige dog. But my sister said, oh, it had to be a big beige dog, because if it was a little dog, it wouldn't have gotten your attention. So this pounding comes, boom, on the driver's side of my car. And I look, and there's this dog. And this dog is, I've never seen it before, but it was looking me in the eyes like I was its long-lost friend, and it was so glad to see me, and it was just thrilled, like, oh, I haven't seen you for a million years, and this is so wonderful, I'm so glad to see you. And the dog was dancing around like it was full of good news. It had this good news for me, and it was just so ecstatic and so happy that I wondered, is this my Charlie coming, in this form, or speaking through this dog, to let me know that he's good. He's ecstatic. He's on the other side. He is good. He's like that butterfly that came out of the chrysalis, and this is like the best thing that's ever happened, and can I be happy with him? So that is a personal story. I've not shared this online before, just with a few select friends, but I wanted to share it today because to me it proved again about life after death and ecstasy and bliss, and that loved one that we miss, that we shed the tears because our hearts are hurting. But a friend told me that she got over the death of her husband only by remembering that it was a step up for him and where he was going, and that when she could be happy for him, it was greater than her grief for herself. So those are my stories about loss being really a transformation. And it's said that every change is a step up, and every loss is a step up, a freeing, a stretching. Some friend, when I used to live in San Diego, there was a number of fires for a few summers. During one of them, some good friends lost their house, and they had 4 children, and they lost everything, including the children's photographs. A lot of people said, well, that's the most valuable, that's our greatest losses, our pictures of our kids when they were little. But these 2 friends, of my 8 friends who lost their houses, I loved their response the best. They said, well, this is a clean slate, a new start. And yes, we've lost our kids' childhood pictures, and this is forcing us to relate to them as they are now, only in the present. And they were not sad at all. They did not grieve. They looked at this as, oh, this is our chance to start fresh. And they did. and they built they built big. um, so some people on listening to this video have lost people, pets, and some listening right now, some network marketers have even lost their business, their network marketing business as it was. Their company has gone through a change. So my suggestion is, look at the strengths that you are growing inside you or have grown inside you as a result of being in that company, and look at the strengths, the spiritual strengths that you're growing right now as a result of this loss. You're developing resilience, flexibility, courage to build again, gratitude for what you learned in that company. And you're learning that you have your skills, you have those intact, even though your house burnt down. You have intact your brand, your skills, your contacts, all the experiences that you got. And you can build again. You can build a new house again if you wish to. A lot of people are they'll look at an experience and say, well, what am I getting spiritually? Yes, this thing was lost, but it's always a step up, so what's the trade-off? What am I getting as a result of this loss? Person, business, thing. What am I trading it off for? What am I trading up for? Sometimes it can even be our ego that was lost, right? We had we had a hard hit, saw something about ourselves. So it can be the past, it can be our past egos or habits. But if every change is always a step up, then what is your new step getting you? What is the thing that you're learning, that you're trading off, that you're exchanging that old thing for the new, for the chrysalis, for the butterfly? What is your butterfly? What are you learning? What are you getting in return? Even though it might have to go through the painful things. I know for me, after I've been losing my friends and my doggie this year, I get a call from my son and tells me I'm going to be a first-time grandma. And you know, the intensity of that, my voice sounded so much the same as when I learned that I lost these friends. It's both intense, it's powerful, it's intense. Both of them open my heart, both the death and the birth open my heart to the preciousness of life. And somehow I value me more and you more and all of life more in every minute because of these births and the deaths and the coming birth. So that is what they've given me. Nothing is better than an open heart. Nothing is better to me. The ability to love. That's what I'm here to learn, I believe, and that all of life, the experiences are here teaching us about love. And if that's only one thing that I walk away with from this lifetime is a greater ability to love, then I did it right. I did it good. And it was a very successful life. Just that one thing. But I think that from that thing comes everything. Everything else that we need. When we put love first, for some people when they put God first, that's the same thing. And let that be a guiding ethic and a guide for all our behaviors, all our actions. I think love is the reason and the means and the way and how for everything that means anything in life. And nothing worthwhile is easy, right? Everything worthwhile is uphill. So thank you for the likes and loves. That is my message for today. Thank you for hopping on, Jim and Cohen and Reagan. And I'm just saying hello to everybody. And Saudan, welcome. Now I'm going to put a link in the comments for those who want a little bit more about how to know and meet your needs. This is something I've been specializing in for over 20 years now. I have looked at how I've helped myself and my clients and my students in the holistic field and the therapy field for about 30 years. I looked to see, okay, well, how do people move from problem to solution? And I found 4 common steps that kept coming up. And that was that they they look at the problem, they see the feeling underneath and get in touch with that. And then they look at the need. Well, what need? I have a problem, it's a sign of an unmet need. So what need is not being met? And they find out what that problem is. And then they solve that. So this has helped people to go out of pain, pain of loss, or of frustration, or any kind of pain or block ever in your life, your business life, family, relationships, health, anything. It's these 4 simple steps that I find apply all the time. This has really become my life's work. I got some books coming out on it. I call it Real Conversations. I trademarked this. Real Conversations with ourselves, because it's honesty about ourselves and uncovering what is the unmet need here. Every problem is a sign of an unmet need. So we uncover that, we meet that need, and the problem disappears. This is a quick self-help technique that I am committed for the rest of my life to teach, so that people can know and help themselves fast. And you can even share this with others. I have 2 links for that. One is for Real Conversations for everyone, and one is Real Conversations for network marketers. So I'm going to post both. You can choose if you like to learn this. It's a free lesson, and I'm glad to share that. Welcome, Leilani. Welcome, Ben. I'm glad to see you. Oh my goodness, this is so fun. And welcome, Darlene. This is a party. Kind of hate to end it, but time to go help some more people. And let's keep any conversations going. I'd love to hear your story. If you had a loss, if you found a way to help yourself through loss, I'd like to hear your tips. Other people can read it and share too. If you have a question for a therapist, then please type that below, because we'll keep this going. We'll keep this conversation going. Thank you. And again, if you find benefit and you know someone who, if you comment, like, share, if you know someone who can benefit, I'd love if you share with them or tag them. So welcome, Brian. Welcome, Brian. And welcome, Sarah. Glad to see all you guys. Lots of love to you all. Everybody take care, and let's keep growing. You can only heal pain if you feel it. And let yourself embrace the gift that it is bringing to you, because I guarantee there is one. Okay, let's do it. Take care.